Midnight Suns is the latest release from Firaxis Games, the developers behind Xcom and Civilization. And while I'm still making my way through my playthrough of Midnight Suns, this game took the basis of the Xcom formula and really made something unique and different. In this video, I'll attempt to break down these changes for both fans of the genre and people who are just interested in Suns, while also giving some thoughts to the game itself, because so far I am enjoying it a lot. So, getting right into it, one of the best things that Midnight Suns has over any game in this genre is its story. I'm a huge Marvel fan, but even with ignoring that and putting all biases I may have to the side, this setting works. In Xcom, besides the opening and ending cutscenes, most story elements are locked to either being spoken to you over radio or through really simple interactions. Which, don't get it twisted, the story of Xcom is still great and I love it. But in Midnight Suns, all cutscenes are cutscenes. From cinematic moments to conversations held with the characters, there's just a lot more happening in this game's story. A lot more moving pieces, definitely a lot more spectacle. And it's awesome. Seeing scenes and cutscenes with characters like Fallen Venom, awesome name and design by the way, were so well done that I wanted to be invested into the story. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. The way characters act, the way their personalities bounce off each other, it was all done just so well. Normally for games like this, most people would just skip the dialogue options or at the very least, skip the full voice lines once they read them in their head. Me included. But I found myself not doing that for this game. Instead, I actually just let each scene play out, enjoying the quality of not only the voice acting, but the world being played out in front of me. Moving on to where the bulk of these changes are, there's a lot to talk about. Where XCOM is very patient and all about lining up shots and doing everything in your power to keep your team alive to the very end of the mission, Midnight Suns is... yeah, this game is aggressive. All the patience and cover crawling that's usually a staple in this genre gets flipped around because this game actually doesn't have any form of cover system. Shy of abilities and items, you're always taking full damage and dealing full damage. And when you hurt, you hurt. Offense is such a priority that only one unit gets a movement option per turn, allowing you not to think about where's the best spot for my units to defend, but where's the best spot to deal maximum damage. It's a nice change of pace, and given the fact that you're these larger than life superheroes and not some normal humans trying to stand up against a tyrannical alien empire, it works. To add to the change of pace, where in XCOM each individual unit was given a movement and action option a turn, in Suns all attacks are done using a deck of cards. Each character has specific cards to their deck, and under normal circumstances you can use up to 3 per turn. But add in modifiers, key skills, interactable environment, and card upgrades and you're able to do some really cool stuff in this game. Even allowing you to act past your 3 card uses and moving past your 1 movement option. Just like in XCOM, upgrading and researching plays a huge part in Suns. And for the most part, researching is exactly the same. But where Suns differs from that is your friendships and relationships with the other heroes. See, you can make your own character in this game, though the options are some of the most limiting I've ever seen in a video game. I ended up making my character based off a character I made in one of my stories. But ignoring that, like a game like Fire Emblem, it's all about strengthening your bonds with the other heroes, in doing so unlocking more cards for their decks and unlocking extra abilities and passives in battle, which in turn leads into hangouts and moments that just highlights even more how excellent this writing is. Another big difference between Suns and XCOM is the day system. While in XCOM the entire game is on a predetermined time system, where you have to constantly strive to hit certain milestones within a certain time limit, in Suns you don't have to worry about that at all, which is arguably one of my favorite things about this game. The entire game can be taken day by day, no rush, allowing you to focus on upgrades and other side activities before moving on with the main story when you feel like it. It's what we've always wanted in games like Persona. And speaking of the pacing, between your friendships with other heroes and your day-to-day upgrading, most of your time outside of combat will be spent at the Abbey, a church/boarding school housing the Midnight Suns and as a central base of operations to fight the Demon Mother. While this isn't that crazy in and of itself, the surrounding area is where the Abbey really shines. You know that crypt from Mortal Kombat 11 or 10? Do you remember how it was like this whole big exploration environment with puzzles and chests? Well, Midnight Suns has just that. No, seriously. While it isn't as loot heavy as something like the crypt, it's story rich through drops, files, and locations that'll help tell a story before the events of Midnight Sun. After knocking out a huge chunk of the exploration, I gotta say, this place is massive, and it's one of those things that you'll spend hours doing this if you're dedicated. Or not at all, as all of this is completely optional to the game, which again, I do love Xcom so much as a series, but besides being in mission and upgrading your stuff, there wasn't a whole lot to do outside of missions. So I can appreciate Midnight Suns for going the extra mile when it comes to features like this. This game is flashy and in true Marvel fashion, spectacular. While Xcom focused on its combat and fine-tuned it to a point where it's a proper strategy game, Midnight Suns branched out and blended elements of Fire Emblem, Persona, and a deck builder to create a game that's as fun as it is beautiful. I may have missed some differences, but there's just so much to this game, there's no way I'd be able to talk about all of it. I do recommend though, please try this game out if you ever get the chance, you won't regret it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and take care.